What if your dog carried the blood of kings? Not just a companion, but the heir to a legacy born in royal courts, forged in quiet loyalty, and passed down through generations of noble hearts. This isn't just a story about a breed. It's a living bloodline, one shaped by centuries of devotion, resilience, and silent strength. This is the story of King Charles, and this is the king's legacy. Every kingdom begins with a question: who came before the crown? Long before King Charles was known as the calm, commanding soul he is today, his story had already begun, written not in scrolls, but in instinct. Generations ago, his ancestors walked beside kings and queens, their paws treading the marble halls of royalty and the dirt paths of devotion. They were not bred for battle, but for presence, for grace, for loyalty so deep it echoed beyond their time. Look closer, and you'll see it in the way he watches without blinking, moves without rush, and holds silence like a crown. This is no accident. This is inheritance. And this is where the legacy begins. In the quiet chambers of old European courts, there lived dogs who never barked for attention, but always held it. These were the spaniels of royalty. Draped in silken coats and marked by soulful eyes, they lounged beside queens, nestled in the laps of kings, and followed the steps of heirs and rulers through centuries. But they were more than ornaments of status. They were witnesses, silent confidants to history's most powerful. In dusty portraits and forgotten letters, these companions appear again and again, calm, watchful, present. They didn't shape policy, but they shaped hearts. Their loyalty was not commanded, but freely given. And as the lineage deepened, their quiet dignity became a signature of the breed, a living trait passed from throne to paw. As centuries turned, kingdoms fell, and empires faded, but the spaniel endured. From quiet castle corridors to bustling Victorian parlors, the lineage evolved, refined not by power, but by presence. Then came the Cavaliers, not bred for war, nor for sport, but for companionship in its purest form. These dogs didn't serve kings, they were family. Their expressive eyes, soft coats, and gentle hearts were passed down like heirlooms. They became the chosen companions of poets, philosophers, and nobles who understood one truth: a king doesn't always wear a crown. Sometimes he curls up beside you. And in this rise of the Cavalier, a legacy deepened, not louder, but truer. And in those quiet moments beside the fire, the modern bloodline of King Charles found its soul. Not all legacies are written in books. Some are carved in the silent moments of loyalty. Through war, exile, and sorrow, these dogs never left their post. A Cavalier waited outside a royal prison night after night as his master faced betrayal. Another refused food when separated from the only hand he had trusted. They didn't understand politics, but they understood presence. They waited by doors that never opened again. They mourned. They watched. They stayed. Across generations, this loyalty became more than behavior. It became blood memory. And now, when King Charles stands beside you, silent and steady, he carries the weight of every dog before him who chose to stay, even when it hurt. That is not training. That is inheritance. They may not look like warriors. No snarling teeth, no thunderous growls. Just soft ears, steady eyes, and a calm you can almost touch. But don't mistake gentleness for weakness. When the moment demands courage, they do not hesitate. A cavalier once leapt between a toddler and a striking snake. No bark, just action. Another stood watch for hours beside his owner's hospital bed, unmoving, even as nurses tried to lift him. They are warriors of stillness, of knowing when to hold the line, not with violence, but with presence. King Charles may never bare his teeth, but his strength is ancient. It's in the way he protects without posture, leads without noise, and holds space without fear. In a world of bark and bluster, he remains a quiet shield. That is the mark of a true protector. His name is simple. His presence is not. King Charles doesn't bark for attention. He becomes it. In parks, on porches, or curled beneath a desk, people pause. Not because he demands it, but because he commands it. His eyes carry questions. His silence feels ancient. Some say he's just another dog, but those who've met him know. He's something else. He is the distilled spirit of 100 loyal hearts, the living archive of a breed shaped by nobility, carved by time and refined by purpose. When he walks, it's not alone, it's with echoes. And when he sits beside you, it feels like he's seen this moment in a dream passed down through blood. King Charles is not just a pet. He is the face of a legacy. Genetics can shape appearance, but legacy shapes the soul. King Charles didn't choose his bloodline, but every day he lives up to it. In the calm way he greets strangers. In the quiet way he senses emotion before it's spoken. He is affectionate, yet never needy. Present, but never imposing. These aren't tricks, they're echoes. Echoes of dogs who comforted grieving kings, who guarded sleeping children, who sat through storms without flinching. He doesn't just look the part, he earns it, moment by moment. Because honor isn't inherited, it's chosen, over and over, in how one carries the weight of what came before. And King Charles, he carries it well. A legacy is not a statue. It moves, breathes, learns, and when King Charles runs, he carries a rhythm older than himself. Watch him pause mid-stride to listen to wind, or gently approach a crying child, tail low, eyes soft. In those moments, his ancestors are alive again, not in memory, but in motion, because this breed was never meant to sit still in history books. It was meant to walk beside us, to weave through our homes, our heartbreaks, our celebrations. King Charles isn't just continuing a story. He is the story, unfolding in real time. And every wag, every watchful stare, is a verse in a poem that began long before him and will outlive us all. Look closely at King Charles, and you'll see more than a dog. You'll see the unbroken chain, a line stretching back through time, through fog-covered moors, candlelit courts, and war-torn silence. Each link forged in devotion, from the first spaniel who waited by a throne to the one who waited by a window. None of them spoke, but all of them spoke something true. And now, when Charles curls up at your feet or watches you with those ancient eyes, the chain continues. He is both the latest and the next, not the end of the line, but the keeper of it. And through him, the legacy remains alive, breathing, watching, waiting, just as it always has. Is it the bloodline, the name, or is it something quieter? Maybe a king is not the loudest in the room, but the calmest. Not the one who demands loyalty, but the one who gives it first. King Charles was never crowned, but he carries himself like someone who remembers where he came from, who walks with humility, even while history walks behind him. In his eyes, you see memory. In his silence, you hear story. He is not just a dog. He is proof that greatness does not have to shout. It can simply sit beside you and stay. So what makes a king? Maybe it's not the power. Maybe it's the heart. If this story moved you, then the legacy has done its work, because every time we remember, we keep the line unbroken. So if you believe in loyalty that lasts beyond lifetimes, tap that like button. Subscribe to walk with us through more untold legacies, and tell us in the comments, who is the king in your life? Because sometimes, the greatest stories don't wear crowns. They just wag their tails and stay.